everyone, I'm Farsha and welcome back to DNBCA News. So today I want to bring you to the hot issue that is about Uighur conflict in China. So now I want to give you a little history about Uighur. So Uighur got a conflict with China because in 2009, Uighur tribe got a conflict with Han tribe and that makes so many casualties from China's side. And that makes the government in China relocate the Uighur people to Xinjiang and made a camp for Uighur people to be re-educated.
But we may not know the extent of that problem because there are conflicting reports, and there are also political interests which makes it difficult to know exactly what are the problems. But for sure, I think there are problems.
In your opinion, how long will this conflict be going on? Because this conflict started a long time ago with China being scared of the Uighur minority being terrorism, I suppose, or into religion. How long do you think this will go on?
Yeah, well, anywhere when we talk about the causes of conflict, usually there are many causes. There's not only one single cause. So there may be something in history, but also the triggers, more recent triggers, and that is the same with what happened in Uighur. And then also there are reports that what the Chinese governments are doing is actually targeted the radical ones in the Uighur communities. Probably it's true to some extent in the sense that there may be a few from the Uighur communities which are radical or even join the ISIS, just like the case in Indonesia. But that doesn't mean the whole Uighur community can be branded as terrorists and then put in the internment camp, etc. Again, just like in Indonesia, you have a number of people joining terrorist groups, but that doesn't mean that everyone or every Muslim is part of the terrorist groups. So, there are that problem, but then I think there are also repression from the Chinese government toward the larger Muslim community. And then what makes it difficult, I mentioned earlier, is that countries which respond to this issue, like for example United States, it has its own political interest also, because it is in tension with the US, and the same with the Indonesia. The Indonesian government wants to maintain good relations with China for trade, business, etc. So they try to be careful not to condemn China, etc. So yeah, it's complicated, many causes and many interests. Political interest especially, so sometimes it's not easy to know exactly what happened. But again, like I said, it's difficult to deny that there is serious problem there based on many independent reports.
Yeah, so the Chinese government denied that there was these camps that are built to re-educate the Muslims that are populated in specifically the Uighur Muslims. Why do you think they denied that? Because the NU in 2018, the NU already wrote them a letter to stop putting Uighur Muslims into these camps, but they denied it, and instead they showed a tour to the world what is actually inside these camps. But from what we see online and onto the interview, the people that have gone in there told us that these camps are nothing like what they show to the world. Why do you think the Chinese government is denying these camps? Although we already know that what they are doing inside, just to maintain a good like profile in the media, or like because we already know what they are doing.
Yeah, well, actually, you already answered your question. They want to protect their image.
Yes.
And of course, there will be protests. There are already protests from the UN, from many human rights organizations. So they deny that. So that's it's not. It doesn't look good, of course. China has been a closed state, so it's not easy to get information out from there. But again, based on many independent reports, it's difficult to deny that.
Why do you think other big Muslim countries such as Egypt, Saudi Arabia, United Arab Emirates, and a lot of other countries agree on what they are doing inside these camps and are supposed to be re-educating these Muslim Uyghur? Why do you think they are agreeing to what China is doing, although they know that it's wrong?
Well, probably it's not an issue about agreeing on what the China have done. But again, like I said, they consider many interests, political interests, trade interests, economic interests, and they choose to be silent because they want to maintain their good relations with China. And that happened, of course, not only in China, in the Middle East. That also happens. Like, for example, not many people speak about the plight of the Yemen. The Yemenis Muslims there. Well, actually, there are problems which probably are more serious than the problems in Syria. But not many people speak about Yemen. Why? Because, again, political, economic interests. That happens in many places.
That is also why the Indonesian government is silent about what the Chinese government is doing to protect our relationship with China.
That's one of the reasons. And then the other reason is that the issue of Uyghur Muslims, in a sense, have been owned by the political opponents of the present government, of Jokowi's government. So they don't want it becomes, people are mobilized against the present government in Indonesia based on campaign about Uyghur. So because of that, then the government responded to that by saying, oh no, it's not, there's nothing like that happening in China. So it has been mixed with domestic political interests, especially during the presidential election, during the campaign of the presidential election. So I think that's another factor.
So you mentioned that because of the current government and the current president, which is Mr. Jokowi, what do you think supposedly will happen if our now then president is Prabowo? How do you think Pak Prabowo will react to this situation and do you think he will speak up and bring it up as the Uyghur and the Chinese conflict? Do you think he will bring it up to the media and talk about it?
Well, I doubt that. Probably it will be the same. So, the government always consider many things, the political interest, economic interest, and if it's not in their interest to speak out against a certain issue, they will not do that. And it will be the case.
Okay.
Yeah.
as a religious cross-culture expert, what is your what do you think is the right thing that we should do as like a minority? Even if we could help a little bit, what do you think we should do?
Well, this is mostly the issue. This is a big issue involving a big government like China. So it's not it's not easy to do something about it. But at least two things which I think we can do. First, educate others about what happened in Uighur, so that more and more people know about this. But before that, of course, it's also important to find out the fact, because now in this situation, there are facts mixed with hoaxes, with lies and others. So we need to really find credible sources, and not one but many credible sources, make comparison and others, so we get a good idea, and then educate others. That's the first one. The second one is, if you can, people in general should pressure the government to also speak out on this issue. And that is not, of course, not only with regard to the Uyghur in China, but also on other issues, whether on other injustice, whether that's outside the.
Greetings, I'm Bianca. Welcome back to DMBCA News. Today we'll be talking about Uighur's conflict. A lot of people have been asking, what is UN effort to stop this conflict? And why did China want to re-educate Uighur? Well, clearly UN calls on China to stop this mess, and United States and 22 other countries in UN also try to stop this and push China way into stay. In the other hand, a lot of people try to help also to free Uighur from China.
Justice authorities believe all 8 men were engaged in act of terrorism in the cause of Uyghur separatism. Uyghur are a Turkish minority who live in Xinjiang. Clashes between Uyghur and minority of Han Chinese community has been increasing. Uyghurs said that they are systematic oppression. Human rights groups agree. Beijing rejects such claim, arguing that the Uyghur are agitating violently to establish their own state. In May